Okay, hi, I'm Michelle from Urban Jungle Folks. Many people find that, okay, I want to live more sustainably and I want to lead a healthy lifestyle. Everybody finds it a little bit daunting to do it on your own. Foraging is actually a fast alternative means to actually source for food. It's literally stepping out in the wild and looking for wild edibles that you can feed yourself with. And in Singapore, we are very blessed to actually have abundance of greeneries all around us. The only difference is, do you know how to identify them? This is actually the tiniest starfruit that you actually find. The name of this is actually called the lavender sorrel, and chefs are using it as jams nowadays, or you can actually eat it fresh as a snack. So this is another of my favorite snack that you can find in abundance on fans or like just creeping on trees that you see. It's actually a creeping cucumber. It tastes exactly like a cucumber. This is as big as it gets, so this is actually ready for harvest. One thing that is not edible but yet very useful is this leaf right here. So this is actually called a simple IA. This was traditionally used to actually take away food. So one thing that you have to be very mindful of, foraging is illegal in Singapore. It's very important for you to actually be aware of what's available to you. There are private spaces that you might have access to. So if it's within your school, your work area, or private garden that you might have access to, or even a community garden, so long as you seek permission from the landowners, you can still legally acquire all this kind of wild edibles. When I say that food is literally all around you, if you just know where to look. One good example is here right under the staircase. You actually see a whole cluster of a very common ground cover that you'll see everywhere in Singapore. This is actually the wild pepper. This is one of the leaves that is very popular as a one-bite snack. You'll take a leaf, add shallots, ginger, chili, maybe a tamarind sauce, and wrap it up and just eat it as one bite. So we have hidden gems all around us, even in your very own pot. Very often or not, you will actually find this growing in your potted plants, but you think it's just a weed. Not many actually realize this, but this is actually peperomia. You can actually eat it raw, incorporate it in your salad, and it just has got a very nice peppery taste to it. I think thanks to the recent pandemic, everybody has suddenly realized the importance of food security. And there is no better way to ensure your food source than to grow it yourself. To most Singaporeans, I think growing anything is very daunting. The best way to actually ease yourself in this culture is to actually join a community garden. I find one of the easiest ways to actually grow something is through stem cuttings. So one of my favorite varieties to actually be growing is actually the Brazilian spinach. This right here is almost like a seed, where you can actually just cut this off and propagate this in water. From this, it will actually give you a brand new plant that you can constantly harvest. These are actually the seed pods that you see. So these seeds are as easy as just extracting them. So to actually regrow these seeds, all you have to do is scatter it back in a plot. One of the common things that I always get from most Singaporeans is that I don't have a green thumb, I can't grow anything, or I don't have the space or the time to do so. Then microgreens is going to be your answer. What I have in my hand here is actually bok choy. Microgreens actually contain anywhere from 20 to 40 times more nutrients than the mature counterpart. In order to grow microgreens, you need very few items. Number one, you have to start with seeds. Two, you need a growing medium, and you need a growing vessel. Okay, and of course, this is going to be something handy to have on hand to actually water your plants. I'm just going to introduce you a few mediums that we can use. So what I have in my hand here is cocoa peat, cocoa mat. Okay, all these are basically coconut products. To start, we can actually hydrate our cocoa peat in water. You actually see it absorb like a sponge. You have three mediums to choose from. One, you can actually grow it in water. You can actually grow it using a cocoa peat, or you can actually use a potting mix. Press it down flat so that you can actually spread the seeds evenly. Take out your seeds and just be very mindful. Every microgreen has got different growing instructions, so always read the instructions to actually find out the sprouting time and germination period. You just want to sprinkle on your seeds evenly. I like it to give it up with a little bit of compost. Thin layer of compost over it. Try and like break up the big lumps. And all you want to do is mix well. Preferably, you actually want to germinate this for at least about 2 to 3 days. If possible, you want to put something heavy over it and keep this in a dark area to let it germinate. Okay, so after you have let this pot germinate for like 2 to 3 days, you actually see emerging shoots like this. It is time to actually lift the weight off, and every day you might want to mist it 2 to 3 times just to keep the pot hydrated. Alternatively, you can actually have a vessel of water and actually soak your pot. So you will get from a germinated pot to this in just about 5 days. After patiently waiting 5 days, the exciting part is to, of course, harvest your crops. As easy as just grabbing onto your greens and coming in with a snipper. One of the beauty about microgreen is having the flavor actually in your hands. Right. There is nothing like harvesting fresh produce right from your balcony straight onto your plate. So what is eco-enzymes? What I have with me is actually a bottle of 1 part sugar, 3 parts of fruit peels that you have generally thrown out, and 10 parts of water. That waste has been transformed into what I would like to term as liquid gold. After sitting in your household for 3 months, you actually filter it out into a usable liquid that can be stored indefinitely. With that, all I'm adding is this little magic potion that is nothing more than Castile soap. With this tool, right, it's endless possibility. You can use it as a floor cleaner, you can use it to wash your hands, you can use it to clean your fruits and vegetables, you can even bathe with it, and I personally been using this to actually shower my dogs. So one of the best ways to actually learn more about all these kind of local edibles, right, is through talking to people. But the next thing, something that you can actually do at leisure as well is to actually visit one of our libraries to pick up one of the many resources that we actually have. So for example, one of the books that I personally refer to is actually this. It actually showcases a lot of wayside plants that are available in Singapore, yet we often miss out on. So if you know of something that you actually see on the street yet cannot identify, this is one of the books I actually will start with. I just want to have somewhere that people can just come together and take it like a learning journey. So long as you have a willingness to do so, the resources are endless, you know.